Hey, Devon. Welcome. Thank you.
Here we are together again. So I'm really pumped on this mastermind session. So we have two absolute badasses in real estate with us. So we've got Deb Lucci and Devon Babineau. So representing the East Coast. So Devon's out there in New Brunswick, and Deb is in Massachusetts. So just two absolute rock star agents dominating their market. So what we wanted to do is kind of showcase some of the amazing women in real estate and kind of find out what you guys are doing a little bit differently, and just talk about your real estate experience leading kind of up to where you are right now. So Deb, maybe kick us off. Tell us a bit about yourself.
I've been in real estate for about 23 years. I was in retail before this. My family owned shopping centers in Wilmington and North Reading, Massachusetts, and needed a change. And so decided to get into real estate 23 years ago. And I was very fortunate to walk into an unbelievable company, Prudential Howard Doherty at that time. And I was a single agent for a very long time. And then I got to a point that I couldn't sell any more houses. Prudential Howard Doherty liked single agents. They didn't really want teams. So we got bought out by William Ravis. And at that time, I decided to start a team. And it's really worked out really well for me. I really enjoy it. I work with sellers. I really enjoy doing that. And I have a great admin staff. And, the agents on the team are wonderful. And I think that you and Jason have helped me tremendously this year. And so that's really about it. We sold last year 156 homes, about $125 million worth of real estate.
Wow.
And we're located in Andover, which is about 35 minutes north of Boston.
There you go. And apparently William Ravis is the official real estate agent of
the Red Sox. Yes.
Go figure.
How do you know that, Joe?
Nice. And then we have from Moncton, so up here in Canada. Devon, tell us about yourself, my friend.
Hello there. So
Hi.
my Devon Babineau. I got into real estate in 2010. My career prior to that was marketing. I spent 26 years in marketing. A lot of people ask why real estate. I really just always believed that I got into it in the sense that my son and I started flipping houses in 2009. Went through 3 realtors, and out of total frustration because I couldn't get any reporting or anything like that done, I went and got a realtor license. Never really thought I was going to become a full-time realtor, to be honest. I had my while I was full-time at Atlantic Lottery, 30 houses a year, working part-time at real estate. There was an opportunity for me to take a package to leave, which provided salary, which was the leap of faith, and went into real estate full-time in 2012. Since then, when I originally got into real estate, I was linked in with another realtor initially. And that's kind of where I got my idea of creating a team.
Wow.
Because she decided to come back from real estate. But no, we from there, just from the house flipping side of what when I got into real estate initially, I had a paycheck every second. We can hear a bird or something. I don't know what it is. Somebody has their mic on that shouldn't have it on. That's better. But when I made that leap of faith into real estate, I was terrified because I was used to having a paycheck every second week. I mean, I was paid every second week for 26 years, right? So I read being in marketing, research is the key when you're a marketer. And that's really what I did. I just took a head dive right into all the real estate research that I could find. Everything kept steering me into the fact that everything is online. And, we all know that now, but back then it was just kind of the beginning of it. And made me realize that if I was going to do my sellers any justice, I needed to make sure that they looked perfect online. So I did line myself up with a stager initially. We worked together for about 4 years, and then she retired. I went through a couple more stagers and just couldn't find anybody that worked the way she did. So we decided to go get certified ourselves. So I'm a certified stager. My daughter is, she's also a realtor, and my admin is a certified stager. And we're actually in the process at this point of launching a full staging business out to the marketplace. Because one of the key things that I discovered through all of that research as well, 40% of the staging that happens across Canada is non-real estate related. So it just seemed to me that it could be a unique way to actually lead generate. You know, we had an opportunity to stage for the public, potentially. They would get to know who we are and how we work. And when it's time for them to sell, of course, I would make sure I do a market evaluation for them so they know what they're worth. But it'd be a great way to get into people's homes before they're even ready to sell. So our stage business is launching this spring. We've aligned ourselves with Scott McGillivray. We are the trusted staging company for Scott McGillivray in Moncton. And that will all start to unroll right around the middle of June, actually.
Wow. All right. So two absolutely amazing businesses. So Deb, let me ask you, in your previous roles, what did you learn that helped you kind of kick ass coming out of the gates?
Are you talking to me?
Deb.
Deb.
Yeah.
So I came from a retail background. My family owned shopping centers, a supermarket, and a couple of liquor stores. And I just loved the marketing end of it. I love to see different forms of marketing and the results of that. I think I learned a lot from that retail business. And I think that that's where my team really excels, is marketing. We have TV commercials that we do right now. We have really nice ads that the admin put together in North Shore magazine spreads. We postcard very, very heavily. We have a very good online presence. Mm-hmm. So I think that marketing is where we do really well. So I think that retail background, I kind of grew up in that, and that's what I kind of saw. That's what we do well.
Wow, right on. Devon, how about you?
Deb, do you mind if I ask a question to Deb first?
Sure.
So Deb, when you started in real estate, what was your first year like? Can you walk us through that? Because I think there's some people on here that have first years that are very humbling. Some people have great first years. Give us your perspective on that. And then Devon, that'll be the same question for you after.
So I started in real estate. What happened is I was not in a good place, and I wanted to leave the family business. I didn't feel like I was growing anymore. So I left. And how I figured out to get into real estate is I did graduate from Bentley University, but I filled out an AOL survey. And the only thing that came up was real estate. So I figured, well, geez, maybe I should try this. So my first year in real estate, luckily I walked into a great company. They were very good with training, but I was scared to death. I was going through a divorce at that time. I had two children, so I had to hit the ground running very quick. And at that time, I would go after a lot of expireds and for sale by owners. I was very good prospecting. I made a lot of phone calls. I was kind of tenacious. I would be there, 24/7, whatever you needed, wherever whatever town, whatever time you needed me to be there. And that's how I really started. And I think that that's still important today. I mean, I think that one woman said to me, 10 doors have to close before one opens up. And so instead of when you get slammed in the face with a door, you have the attitude, well, I'm getting closer. So my first year in real estate, it was tough. I saw a lot of people selling real estate very, very quickly. It was 1998. It was a quick market. And I was the newbie on the block, and but I would just outwork you. That's how I started. I would just outwork you no matter what it took.
Love that. So do you know roughly how many deals you did in your first year?
So I know the first year, I think I did about 10 deals the first year that I came out of the gate. And then one of my goals was to double that every single year. And I did that for several years until I couldn't double it anymore. And now I have a team, and so we can do that if we want. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. And you're a mom at the time, going through a divorce.
Yes.
You had kids.
Single
too,
mom.
right?
I had two kids, they were 8 and 10. And there was times I remember selling real estate during the depression, the recession, and I was not getting any child support. I was not getting help with college. My son just got into Boston College, his third try. And my ex-husband called me and said, I can't help you with child support or college anymore. And so to be honest with you, I just kept my head down and kept going. I wasn't even listening to what was going on with the economy. I didn't have time to listen. I was not going to say no to my son. He graduated from DC. He had no loans. You had to do like 5 interviews with people because they couldn't sell their homes for what their homes were worth. But I think a lot of agents dropped out of the market at that time, and my sales never went down. They only went up. So even during the recession. And I just think it's from really being, persistent, and helping people.
I love that about your story, Deb. I think it's awesome. And I think you set a hell of an example for people on, like, if you want something in life, it's just like, come hell or high water, I'm making it happen. You have to be tenacious. You have to be persistent. Right. And you would like totally exemplify that. So it's no secret to why you're one of the top agents in your whole state now. And I know it wasn't handed to you.
I think if you look at it, like if you start from the bottom, you have nowhere to go but up. And so if you have that kind of attitude walking in the door, like, I can't lose, I can't do any worse than I'm doing.
Did you have any moments, Deb, in the beginning where you're like scared to death and you're just like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? Is this going to work out? Like, did you have those moments?
So I remember sitting at my desk and I had one little condo deal and I needed the money like really bad. And the deal was falling apart. And I remember getting up from my desk, going out to my car, crying, then shaking it off and coming back out and sitting at my desk again and trying to straighten it out. Yeah, I trust me, I remember, yes.
Wow. Devon, thank you, Devon. I'm going to ask you the same question. What was your first year in real estate like?
Are you talking about when I first got licensed or when I was first full-time?
Well, you do tell us what let's go with your first committed year in real estate. What did that look like?
Well, growing up in the corporate world is different in the sense that, like, you're out, you have training all the time, right? The companies that you work for, they know what they want their staff to do, and the training is just there. It's just a part of how they operate their businesses. I found that in real estate here anyway, a lot of our brokers didn't offer really great training. Where does that make?
Right.
Is I got aligned with Babineau and Company right from the beginning. And when I made that decision to get a realtor license, I actually had to get approval from Atlantic Lottery to get the license, believe it or not. They told me that if they saw one contract go through the fax machine, that I would have to choose my lottery career or my real estate license. So, and the other thing is I wasn't allowed to solicit anybody. Well, my life was there. That was all of my friends. So even, when you talk about real estate, we all should have a pretty good sphere and stuff like that. The most of the sphere that I had, I couldn't even touch. So I had to go and generate new leads right from the beginning because I just didn't have any. And what really worked well for me, honestly, was open houses. I followed Babineau religiously. I took all of their training. I paid for that stuff for probably about 6 or 7 years. And I sent it. I don't know if anybody else on the call is familiar with Babineau and Company or not, but they're a pretty big training company in the States. Maybe you would be, Deb, but they taught a lot of the practices that we know today, which is to grow your sphere, to manage your sphere, to have a good CRM program, looking after the people that you touch every day so that they remember that you're a realtor and all of that kind of stuff. So for me getting started, it was tough just simply because I really had to go create clients. I didn't have access to much of a sphere because I was told I'd get fired if I did it. So they actually called me the open house queen out here.
Good for you.
Yeah, I just became very good at talking to people. I say that I'm kind of a chameleon in a way, because if you take enough time to listen to people, you can get a sense of who they are, and then you can adjust what you say and how you behave around them so that they're comfortable with you. And I just became very good at making people comfortable with me, and I would pick them up at the open house. Just
Devon, how many open houses do you think you did in that first year? Honestly.
I was doing 2 a day, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, and I did them every week, including long weekends. So
And-
I from 11 to 1 and from 3 to 5.
And you just stayed super consistent with that.
Yep.
And how many deals did you end up closing roughly off the top of your head in that first year?
So I was licensed the end of June in my first year, and I did 13 deals. The second year I did 30, and I was
Okay.
still Atlantic Lottery,
And you were still working at the lottery place.
working at the lottery. Yeah.
So was it hard for you to like get rid of those golden handcuffs? Like what did it take for you to finally be like, okay, I need to get rid of these handcuffs here?
You have no idea. It's terrifying because we grow up believing that that's where your pension is going to come from and your health benefits and all that kind of stuff. All of a sudden I have to look after that myself. What does that even look like? And I think that's one of the biggest problems with Atlantic Lottery. I'll tell you what I was making. This was back in 2012 when I left. I was making 110 a year. I had a company car, I had a gas card, and I had an expense account. That job rate was paying 160 a year. Last year, I sold 117 houses myself. Our team did 160 for 100 million. Yeah. So if I look at my gross last year was 805. That's a far cry from the 160 that I would be making at the lottery today, right?
Yeah, and which is not like still a very nice income to a lot of people, right? 160,000, but you're doing way more than that, which is amazing. And it took you a while to shatter the golden handcuffs. And a lot of people struggle with that is like, well, how do I make that in transition? So very cool. But I love that you have something in common. You both were persistent and you both just like stayed the course with your plan. And, you know, even when things get tough, you stayed so tenacious. And I think that's like the common link. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much they do have inside them until they're forced to do it. Like Deb, you had no choice. Similar to my story, you had to make it happen. Devon, you did have a choice, right? Because you had a cushy gig to go back to, but I think you realized that you had so much more probably in you, and you just finally went all in on yourself, which is pretty exciting.
It's awesome. So question from Justin White here. So Devon, we'll start with you. So keep us rolling. So knowing what you know now from your experience, if you were to start over in this market, what would be the top 3 actions you would immediately take and why?
The first thing, get your database up and running and make sure you know how that works, period. Because even people that you meet down the street, like to meet people, I love renovations, right? So that's part of the flipper side of me. I have 5 clients learning how to flip. But anyway, back in the beginning, I thought to myself, well, you know what? It could be advantageous to have a good, healthy list of tradespeople. So I just went on Google and I Googled roofers, painters, all kinds of different tradespeople. And I made a point to go have a coffee a day with a tradesperson. I paid for it, but they got to meet me. I got to meet them. It was an opportunity to see what kind of work they do. And they just became part of my referral network. I have an app now with all my tradespeople, and I think I have 90 people in there, but my client base uses that app regularly. So when they think about their house, they use my app and they have all the tradespeople in it. But CRM is the key thing. If you don't feel like you have enough people in your CRM, go get more. Because there's lots of people out there that will talk to you. And, you know, we're kind of in this place right now where I told you before, as the open house queen, that was my lead gen solution for the last 10 years. It's not an option with COVID. I don't know if open houses will come back again the way they did. So you just have to get innovative and find another way to meet people. And, you know, if we look at how things have relaxed now that COVID is kind of not slowed down, but they've changed all of the requirements, I guess. Lots of people are connecting. You just got to get out there and make sure that you've got lots of business cards always with you in your pocket. so that you can hand them out. Not everybody is techie. If you have them on your phone, still have the paper ones.
Love it. So basically get out there, connect, create that database, and then leverage your partners in the community, right? Just three. And those are sort of three things that people can do now. Like you don't need a long history in real estate to be able to put those pieces together now. That's awesome. Deb, how about you? If you could redo everything from square one, knowing what you know now, what are three things that you would do today?
Gotta unmute her, Joe.
There you go. Okay, and I say this to my team members all the time. If one of the mistakes I made is I did not have a CRM program when I started, so it was very hard for me to keep track of clients. So we have a great CRM program now, and I say to the girls, if I knew now if I knew then what I know now, I would definitely tag all my clients. We have a local mailing list of everybody that I've sold to, done CMAs for. And then we have a client list that, they've moved away. And so now what we do is I make sure we give them a gift like 4 times a year. It's nothing big. It could be small, but it's just like a touch that I didn't do in the beginning. So I kind of lost track of people. So if I think your sphere of influence are the easiest people to work with, you've already got a reputation with them. And I would have stayed in touch with them more if I had some type of system. Actually, during COVID, I sat there at my dining room table and I went back after all my closings and organized them for many, many years. And the other thing I would do is, for example, we had one record-breaking closing in a neighborhood. And I know it sounds old-fashioned, but we sent out a postcard. Also did a lot of social media on it, new record-breaking price in this neighborhood. And we ended up getting 5 listings out of that this year. And then the team got different buyers from it. But I think getting reviews and using those reviews to the max is a great thing to do right now. But just, taking your reputation and what you've done for the one house, you do it really, really well. And then just really build on that. I think I didn't do that as much in the beginning. And that's what I kind of do a lot more now.
I love that. I think every listing is an opportunity for you to showcase yourself, your brand, your work ethic, tell the story of the home, and then create advocates with each one of your sellers. And I think that's really, really good advice. Deb, thank you so much. So let me ask you this, ladies. You guys have you're both building teams. How did you know that you needed leverage? What point in your career were you like, okay, I need to maybe hire an assistant? So I'll start with you, Devon, and then I'll come back to you, Deb. So Devon, how did you know in your career when to hire your first assistant?
I was overloaded with work. And I'm bad for that. I'm that kind of person where I have a hard time to hand things off. So it did take me a little bit of time to finally get on the bandwagon and get an assistant.
How many deals were you doing approximately when you're finally like, okay, I'm sort of overwhelmed here and I need to get an assistant?
I was between 50 to 60 deals.
Okay. So you were doing some decent volume at that point.
Yep.
And you were still doing all your paperwork and everything yourself.
I was. Yep. I would say that by the time you're doing 30 deals, you need an admin, or you're going to work yourself to death and you're not going to like it. It's not. Yeah.
Now, Devon, when you finally brought on the assistant, what was the timeline before you felt comfortable really letting them do their role and then you could focus on what you did? How long did it take for you to get the admin to a point where you felt like they were competent in what they were doing for you?
It's probably 6 to 8 months. It took a while. I think that part of it too is with admin services, you really have to decide what pieces are more important for them to look after first. So in my case, because I was so deal heavy, it was more important for me to make sure that the paperwork side of it was done first. And because even at this point now, we're still not, and here I am a marketing person, right? We're still not doing what we should be doing in marketing.
Right. You're forever going to be in beta mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? So what stage in your career did you finally decide, okay, I need to hire an admin? Oh, you're muted, Deb.
So a lot of it with me came down to, I had a part-time admin because I was petrified because I had the kids in school. I could have really used a full-time admin more. I remember the last, I was doing, and I think Devon's absolutely right. It's about 30 some odd calls, 30 some odd deals a year. And I think you need to hire an admin at that point. I think some of the mistakes I made were maybe not hiring the right admin, not really understanding the type of person that I needed, more of a transaction-based person. I needed somebody like that. And putting systems in place for them. So I think when I realized after the kids got through school and I had the luxury of hiring someone, I was doing about 57 houses by myself at that time. And I was just getting yelled at because there wasn't 8 days in the week and I couldn't move any faster. And I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. It was not enjoyable. And so one of the things that I really hate to do, I hate paperwork. I hate it. If I could give paperwork to anybody, I would do it. I just hate it. I'd rather go sell a house. I'd rather go negotiate. And I think one of the things that I've kind of learned over the years with admin is we have to have good systems in place. We didn't have good systems, you know, like if an admin left, the next admin would have no clue what to do. So now that we have systems in place of what to do, and I think the people that are on the team now for admin they're tremendous. They're really, really good. And it took me a while to find really good admin, but they're key. I think they can make or break you, a really good admin.
Yeah, 100%. Love it.
So I got to ask, so Devon, what's next for your team? What's one thing you haven't accomplished yet that you're shooting for?
You're muted, Devon.
Yeah, we're staging a house. Anybody want to check it out?
Man, I freaking love this. I gotta say, like, you guys are living up to every female stereotype ever made. Like, you're both like doing other tasks, badass, running businesses, freaking running an interview here, able to stay on task. I don't know how you do it, but I'm impressed.
Devon, I would love to know more about your staging business. I think I would like to do that. That's not my strength.
Yeah.
But I would love to know how you do that.
Yeah, sure. Anytime, give me a call. I'll kind of walk you through what we do. It started just, you know, for our own listings, right? Just because I used to hire a stager. I'm just going to move to another section here. Doing this awesome ensuite. But sorry, can you still hear me?
Sure can.
There we go. Can you repeat that question? Sorry, Joe.
So what's next? Like what's the next thing that you want to tick off in your business?
Okay. Well, for me, just, you know who I am, Joe, with this whole branding stuff. And I've created this one-stop Home Pros, you know, our whole, I guess, premise of this company is to be a one-stop shop for real estate. So once the staging business is launched, we're moving into also providing renovation consultation. I've been doing a little bit of that on the side, and I'm shocked at how much money I can make. Seriously. Anyway, so the next big phase would be to get those two businesses really up and running. To do that properly, I need to step back from being a realtor and selling 120 houses myself. So my biggest goal for this year is to grow my team to somewhere between 6 to 8 agents roughly. And I think once I get to that level, then I'll be that much more prepared to move on and really develop the rest of these other businesses. I got to get my team built. so I can kind of slack off.
So getting that team dialed in, and it's kind of funny. We've added somebody on your team very, very recently. Talk to us about your newest addition. Who was it?
My future son-in-law.
It's funny how that works. Talent right under your nose, right?
Who would have known? And you know, the funny part is when I met him a couple of years ago, we were in the business of buying boats. My daughter bought one and I bought one, and it was a joke. Honestly, Joe, we looked over at him because he was saying, "Oh my God, look at you guys buying these boats." And I said, "Well, yeah, of course, we're realtors. What else do you think? I guess it's your time to get a license, isn't it?" It just made fun of him, right? And here he is, a realtor 2 years later.
Nice. Right on. So, Deb, what about you? What's next? What's one thing you want to accomplish? Oh, you're still on mute, my friend.
So, can you hear me all right?
Yep. You can hear you.
Okay. All right. There we go. So I think Jason has seen this struggle with me this year in particular. The gentleman that I was dating was going to retire. And so I just never, I know it sounds stupid, but I had never thought about retirement at all. So he retired. I did not retire. So we're really no longer together, but that's fine. But it put this minds, I had to really realize that if I pulled back from this team right now in the position that the team was in, that the team would collapse. And I was not doing my team members any favors by doing this. So right now, what I'm trying to do is slowly pull back. I do like to sell. I like to kind of know what's going on in the street. I like all that stuff. But I don't want to be the main person that's selling everything. I want everybody else to contribute. I want this team to be able to run on its own. And so I think, you know, Jason has been helping me with that a great deal this year. So that's really one of my goals. I really like training new agents. I do. I find it fascinating. Jason's also helped us kind of structure that I'm not the only one training everybody. You know, there's different team members that have different strengths, and they help train some of the new agents. And yeah, and I think I feel like I have more time as far as I don't have to retire right now. I have time to let this evolve. And I think it will do everybody on the team a favor by doing this.
Yeah, definitely. Right. And it's one of those things, I was actually talking about it with another coaching student today, right? When was the last time you were at a real estate agent's retirement party?
Yeah.
One, and it's funny, you both have something in common. You're both like workaholics. You both like are like so in the trenches of your production. You're both the highest producers by far in your businesses, right? And that's real estate. That's the culture of real estate that has been out there for a long time. And the one of the reasons I wanted you guys on here is because you guys are incredible and built amazing businesses. But I also want you guys to get the message out there, the importance of proper leverage and building your business like a business. Because we've talked about this with Devon and Deb. If something, knock on wood, something happens to you guys, would you be able to sustain the income that you have in your businesses? And the reality of it is, for most high producers in real estate, the answer is no. And so the litmus test that we always kind of do is like, hey, if you couldn't work for 6 months, what would happen to your receivables? And most people say, well, they'd go down substantially. So we're working on that with both of you, because both of you do deserve semi-retirement at least. I know you guys will never retire, but at least the ability to have choices with your time. And I think anybody listening right now, please pay attention to this, because these are two people that have reached the pinnacle. They both have been seven-figure earners, or very, very close, but they both have been kind of stuck in that hamster wheel over the years, haven't you? Do you guys ever find it hard to take vacations?
Yep.
Yeah. Have you ruined any birthdays, or just like because you're trapped in your phone? Have you guys had that over the years?
Yep. And
if you could coach me, let's say you were with what you know now and how you've built your businesses, then I would say in the phase where I'm looking at leveraging, what are some of the things that you guys would coach me on? Start with you, Devon. What would you coach me on in order to not be in a position where, I'm close to an age where a lot of your friends might be considering retirement and you guys are still you guys are probably financially very well off. However, there's that whole drive, like, I can't just walk away from my business. What would you coach me on?
What would I tell you to do?
Yeah. How would you tell me to structure my business?
Well, I think the key is leverage, and you need to get used to it immediately. I think that, that whole delay in waiting to hire an admin is not the right decision, because it just delays your growth period if you don't have the people behind you to pick up that stuff. And, even when it came to the point where I made that decision to start creating a team and have other realtors on my team, I'm a perfectionist. I'll admit to that. I really have a hard time handing a client over to somebody else. You just need to stop doing that. And it's funny, the first client, it was my daughter, actually. It was a repeat client that I had. They had bought 3 or 4 properties from me, investment folks. My daughter was really getting involved in a lot of investment properties and whatnot. So I passed that client over to them. And it was really enlightening just to hear how my client talked about my daughter as far as, what a good job she did and all that kind of stuff. And they said, you probably think that we're telling you this because she's your daughter, but they said, we just really want you to know that that little girl there is a really, really good realtor. We thought that we would be disappointed, but she might be better than you.
That's awesome.
So it is. And it's true. Like, I really had to sit there and think to myself, you know what? Other people can do the job just as good, if not better. They just can. And, why think that you're the only one that can do it? It's stupid. You'll just hold yourself up, Jason. Go hire.
Good advice. Good advice. And you're hearing it from somebody who's been extremely successful. Deb, how about you? What advice would you give me if, knowing what you know now, and I was looking to build a team and I'm at the point of leverage, what would you say to me?
So I'm a little bit fussy who I hire. I don't want to hire everyone. I am really proud of the agents on my team. I feel very comfortable. I had a hard time in the beginning, because nobody can do it like you do. And then I get over it because actually they do a better job sometimes than I do. I like dealing with sellers. They're great with buyers. And I think if you hire the right people, and also I think everybody has different strengths. If you collaborate together and it's not just one person, making the decisions, and you hand things off. Like, I don't work weekends anymore. I haven't worked weekends in years. I don't want to work weekends anymore. I want to have more balance in my life. So, I think we have like 12 people on the team right now, including admin, but I think it's hiring really good people that you should be able to trust. And they should be able to bring something to the team together. We all bring something together and work together. I'm not a good babysitter. I'm not that patient. So it has to be somebody that is on the same page as you and wants to and grow the team together. So, but I see the reviews come back because we ask for reviews for all the customers that the team members work with, and we get great reviews. So I'm very, very proud of them. So that would be my advice. Hire people that you really that you think are going to bring something to the team so you can all work together.
Love that. Great advice, ladies. Love it. Guys, anybody listening right now, if you have questions, I'd love to hear them. You've got 2 amazing, incredible entrepreneurs here that have built really great businesses and have done what most people dream of in this business. So I'd love to hear some more questions from the audience. Joe, you got a final question that we can end on our segment here, and then we'll open it up.
Yeah. A final question. Again, we have a lot of new agents that either are watching this or will be. What is one mistake to avoid in your first year in real estate? Devon, we'll start with you, my friend.
I'm going to say again to, just make sure you do your CRM program with your sphere and potential clients, because that's what's going to feed you. And that engine, once you have it running, it will feed you well into your real estate career. But the key is to get it up and running. Make sure you have your clients categorized properly, that everything is set up in there, that you're touching your clients on a regular basis. Because if I look at when we went through COVID and we couldn't do open houses anymore, I was terrified. I went through all of my expenses and on my credit card everywhere, and I deleted every bill that I thought that I could delete. Seriously, just not knowing what was going to happen when we got out of COVID, because all of a sudden we can't do open houses. But I didn't realize at the time how much business I had in. I think I have just under 1,000 clients in my personal database, and how much of that, like, it just causes you to go back and reflect a lot when you go through things like what we did with COVID. And I really saw the value in my database then. I mean, I was told that from Buffini, and you guys talked to us about that. Lots of people have talked about it at this point, but I find even today in our office, there's a lot of agents that still struggle. And you say, well, where are you at with your database? Well, I just haven't got to it yet. That's a big X. Do it now, get it done, get it running, invest the day, 2, 3, whatever it is, get your database up and never stop putting people in it, and make sure you're touching them always.
Great advice. And by the way, anybody listening, we've got an awesome VIP program that you can copy, replicate, make your own. If you are like, well, what kind of system should I do? We've got that. Just email Joe or myself. We can get you guys that anytime. Great advice, Devon. Deb, how about you?
So I think if I was going to start over again, I think Devon was smart in getting a lot of training. I think that you should try to get your hands on every ounce of training that you can do. I think that's extremely important. And the other thing is, just because you're a team, you should treat the business like it's your own business. You want to collaborate with people on your team, but you don't want to be sitting there waiting for business all day long. You don't want to depend on someone else. You want to get your own business on top. Like the leads that come in from the team, that should be more gravy. It shouldn't be your main form of business. So that's what I would do. Those two things.
Learn to be a hawk instead of a pigeon, right, Deb?
Yes.
Hawks eat when they're hungry. Pigeons eat scraps that are left over from hawks. That's it. I mean, ladies, so amazing. Thank you so much for making time for this. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Some really good wisdom there. I'm going to open it up again for any questions, guys. Like, you've got 2 phenomenal agents that have done incredible results in this business here. So love to hear some more questions from the audience. Yeah, Joe Langan says a team of hawks beats a team of pigeons. 100%. And listen, both Devon and Deb have the same story. Like, they were both very proactive in their business. Like, nothing was handed to them. They went and made it happen, right? Devon was handcuffed with her personal sphere. So what did she do? She did open houses. Deb was calling expireds for sale by owners, but you were hammering the phones, making magic happen. It was the same story for me. My first year and years ongoing, I was constantly proactive. So if you're sitting there and you're like not being proactive in your business and you're wondering why you're not getting the results that you want, well, it's pretty simple, right? It's the stuff that's not sexy that works the best. And I know you guys, ladies, agree with me. It's the consistency. It's the compound effect of doing the right activities over and over. And if you do nothing to put yourself out there, then why would people just randomly call you? They're not going to, because they're not even going to know you're in the business. So love it. Well, ladies, I hope you have a phenomenal day. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Joe, thanks for running the show, and have an amazing day. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.